Background check, nothing to get in? Okay.
Larry, with the net rankings coming out for the first time yesterday, I was curious. Do you pay attention to that, especially this early when things are a little wonky and it's not completely a representative look of how good or bad a team is playing?
Well, I mean, somebody brought it to my attention, but I'm not paying any attention to the numbers. I'd like to think the net number is a pretty good indication of how somebody's playing. If it's not, then yeah, but I mean, it's data based on a sample size of 10 games, so it's going to be times 3. The same formula will be built in when our season is over. So, you know, I noticed that there's an awful lot of our league in the top 100, which I think is great, and we've got another week to go before we start beating up on each other. So I think we've all been in the mode of trying to do whatever we can for our league. I think our coaches interact and cheer for each other, and then when January 2nd hits, it's on. There's a lot of good basketball being played in the league, but back to your question, I've never really paid too close to any of those, too close of attention to any of those numbers.
Can you just give us some background on how this game was arranged in the first place? And then a second question, just your relationship. Do you know John Calipari very well?
Well, I mean, not very well, but certainly we've spoke a number of times when we're out recruiting. I mean, in those evaluation periods, you cross paths a lot. You know, a couple of years ago, Coach Hill sat down with Cal and tried to drum up an opportunity to play the game, and they presented us with the opportunity to play at Lexington and then Madison Square Garden for the return game, and we were able to get it to Vegas where we play our Pac-12 tournament, and thought we'd have a little bit better chance of getting some fans there prior to Christmas time. So Andy's in charge of our scheduling for the most part, and Donnie does some work on it, but I think it's mostly Andy's doing than anything.
Has Ryland made any progress since Saturday, and might he go tomorrow?
Maybe. I mean, we're still kind of in a holding pattern with him, and kind of a precarious injury and spot. We're not going to put him in harm's way. So, you know, being a late game, we'll probably get a little more information as the next couple days unwind.
And you bring up this being a late game. This game is being played 8 o'clock Pacific time, which is probably standard operating procedure for your club. For them, it's 11 o'clock back east. Does the fact that they're on kind of a crazy schedule playing at 11 o'clock in terms of their body clock, does that offer any type of advantage for you guys?
Oh, nothing scientific, you know, but if there is a little bit of an advantage somehow, you know, I think we'll take it. But it's, as we know, it's a lot of our schedule times are driven by our television partners. So hopefully they are a little drowsy, and perhaps the fans that travel to Vegas will be a little bit drowsy, and they won't quite be as sharp as normal. But yeah, I think it's important for us to focus on ourselves and get ready to go, have a little bit of fight to us, and get ready to scrap. Somebody just brought it to my attention earlier this morning that the prognosticators, the experts with all the numbers and everything, say we're going to win one of our next 12 games. So I'm not worried about too many of the things that I can't control. I'm trying to focus on the things that I can control. So we're gonna tighten up our belt and see what we can do. Get a little scrappy here before Christmas. Is he allowed to ask questions?
So what's the energy type of the team? Are they excited to play Kentucky?
Well, I hope so. If we're not excited for an opportunity of this nature and caliber with one of the blue blood programs with a lot of titles and a lot of 5 stars and a lot of hoopla surrounding it. I've got a lot of respect for their coach. He seems to reload every year, and it's pretty intense teaching a lot of young kids. This is one of the few times that Kentucky's probably playing a team that's younger than them. So there'll be a little bit of youth running around on the court, a lot of young guys, and with that comes hopefully a whole lot of exuberance and excitement, and we're gonna lay it out there a little bit. Overheard one of my coaching buddies, Coach Beard at Texas State or at Texas Tech the other night in their Louisville game, had a great comment, and I love it. I'll steal it. It's we may not be better than Kentucky, but the key is to try to be better than Kentucky for 40 minutes. And that's what we're going to do is try to stay in the moment and not get caught in maybe a lot of the external excitement and ramifications of a game like that. But we got to get a little scrap to us and the 10 4-minute segments, try to stay in a ball game and see if we can shake it up a little bit.
A lot of your roster obviously is very young freshmen. They weren't around when you guys played them last year, but for the guys who were there, guys like Timmy and Booth, has last year's game come up at all in the preparation for this one?
Well, not a whole lot, with the exception of the fact that they scored 38 points in transition off of 18 turnovers, and virtually impossible to compete with a team like that when you don't take care of the ball and you take ill-advised shots. We did miss a bunch of open shots. So, it's a combination of being dialed in and completely different team for them. They've got a couple returners, but for the most part, they've reloaded with a bunch of guys. And so there's not a whole lot. We'll probably watch a handful of clips, but it's a little bit different personnel, and hopefully we can take care of the ball. And I think everybody kind of remembers how that feeling is when, you're getting steamrolled and teams are scoring with 27 seconds left in the shot clock, and you don't have a chance to defend. They're too good, and they're going to get some in transition. But we've really got to do a good job of earning a great shot, and then certainly getting our butts back.
I'm sure you're aware of the long history against Utah, against Kentucky, and over the last 25 years, and how much they've beaten Utah. I just wanted to
Tell me.
You won, lost like 9 in a row or something, and lost by the NCAA's like 4 times, and they haven't won since '77 against Kentucky. So
77.
Yeah, back when we were kids, Anyway.
Yeah.
I just wondered if the fact that Kentucky, they lost a home game, and Utah Valley gave them a good game. They have some injuries. If maybe that gives you any extra hope, or if that's just you just play the game regardless of who you're playing.
Well, it's not insurmountable. I'm a firm believer we can win the game and we can compete in the game, and I believe is one of the core words of our program. And I believe that our guys believe the same thing, and really at the end of the day, it's no different than the probability of a coin flip, something that's completely random. If you flip a coin 77 times and it comes up heads 77 times, the reality is it's still a 50-50 chance the next time. So no matter what's taken place in the past, there's a lot of great players that have played on our team, their team, NBA guys, different storylines. There hasn't been very many times that our team and their team have played on a neutral site, and I know that they travel well, but I've got great belief if we can stay within the game plan. It's going to take an awful lot of effort at different areas. We've got to be really good early in a defensive possession. We've got to guard a tremendous team with some athletes and ability to score, get them to miss, and then get the rebound. There's a few things that have to happen there, and we have to do all that without fouling, because unbelievable free throw shooting team. They've got 3 guys on their team that shoot 90%, and those are free ones as well. So we've got to do a good job. I think the ones you can't defend very well are the transition baskets. the free throw line. You obviously can't get a hand up on the free throw line, and you can't do a whole lot about it when they're rebounding the ball within a couple feet of the basket. So those are areas that we have to eliminate or limit. And then that's just the defensive side of things. Then you got to go down and you got to be fairly functional on an offensive end. You got to make some open shots when you're presented with them. You know, a year ago, Kentucky's really good defensively. Length, thoroughbreds, the whole deal. They play hard. And so when you do get that open look, sometimes it feels a little strange. I'm flashing back to our Kentucky game a year ago where it's a grind to get a good look. Then when you finally get it, you're not quite in rhythm. But at the end of the day, when we do get some open looks, we got to make them. You know, it's as simple as that. And we can't turn the ball over. So there's a lot of little check marks, I think, that will give us an opportunity to be competitive and win this ball game. But I do believe, back to your question, I believe we can win. I believe everybody on our staff believes we can, and the guys on our team believe that we can. But talk is somewhat cheap. We have to go out and accomplish a lot of those things that I just mentioned.
Oh, sorry.
I would just ask you about Mick. He had kind of a slow start, but he seems to really be coming on lately. Just what has he brought to your team, and what just kind of the main attributes that he helps you with?
I just think it's like when we recruited him. Some players that maybe they don't do anything great where they really get your attention, but he's just really solid in a lot of the different categories. Defensively, he's as good of a big as we have. He brings an awful lot of energy. He's got a level of physicality that's needed in a game like this. I think he's got a super high basketball IQ. He's been coached really well with the Finnish basketball program. His national team coach is actually here for practice, and I'm not sure if he's going to make it to the games, but he's here today. So, he's from a great basketball background, and he's a terrific kid. And it's not unlike maybe a lot of freshmen that whether you're from another country or you're from Salt Lake City, I mean, it's hard to be a freshman, and sometimes guys don't understand the complexities and some of the demands placed on you. And so I think he struggled early on. It's normal. I would be kind of surprised if guys didn't struggle. It's almost like a rite of passage that you have to go through some adversity, and then when you come out the other side, hopefully you're a little bit stronger for it. So I think he, as well as some of our other freshmen, are a little more comfortable now, not thinking as much, and some of the instincts and some of the physical play that Mickey's capable of can be brought to the forefront because he doesn't have his brain maybe a little bit locked up with all that's going on and all the things to remember. So I do think he's in a good place, and he's a great teammate, and he's a heck of a lot of fun to coach.
Win or lose, what's the biggest takeaway that you hope the team learns from this road trip?
Well, I mean, we're constantly growing. You know, there's going to be facets, Kentucky and San Diego State, elements of the teams that we're playing that we haven't seen. They're big, athletic, strong, fast, all those things. So, it's really not to be complicated and be more than any other game. We got to figure out where some deficiencies are and get better at it. But it's also an opportunity where our team can spend 5 days together on the road. No academics. We're going to get to Vegas for a couple nights. We have fun. Our team plays hard, and we work hard and we play hard. And we're going to go out and have some fun when we're not on the basketball court and continue the bonding. And we're going to, Thursday morning, jump on a bus and drive to L.A., which is a 4 or 5 hour deal, so we can spend some more time together and then lay it on the line again Saturday, and then we'll all have a break, and we can kind of decompress with our families wherever we are and come back and get, hopefully a few of the injuries and some of the bruises and different things can get healed up, and we'll get ready for a real challenging Pac-12 schedule.
Thoughts on Malachi Flynn? He's a transfer from Washington State. You've seen him play before. He's really playing well for San Diego State. You're going to see him on Saturday. So your thoughts on him?
Well, I'm not to dodge it, but I haven't watched any. I've seen him kind of socially going through the channels a couple times, but I know he's playing great. I know he's putting up some numbers and was a heck of a player at Washington State. I know with another year under his belt in a different system is going to be a problem, but I just kind of got the team in blue on my mind at this point, so we'll tackle that one on Thursday. Probably Wednesday night we'll start looking at it. Okay. Yes, indeed. Happy holidays.